Welcome to Warblog. Today I'm looking at the Al-Qusayr offensive 2013. I can't remember what's happening on this, but essentially I'm just wondering what that video was. But obviously it's not available anymore. I'm wondering whether I actually did a video and whether my video has been deleted or what. But these are all Syrian units, and then so we're basically the green ones and the black ones versus all the others. I have actually updated this, not so much recently, but since it was first done, because the big thing about this, and I can't remember much about it, was that they have tow missiles. And another interesting thing is that, if I'm not mistaken, that is the sort of the southern part of Israel. Although I might be wrong, because I don't remember this Katina Lake being there, because if that's Lebanon, yeah, so Lebanon, oh no, yeah, that could be Turkey, couldn't it? Where the hell is this? I'm going to have a look at a map. How can I do this? 1 minute. Yeah, so that is actually Lebanon as well. It's Lebanon and Lebanon, so the border sort of goes presumably across there. Maybe they should be joined up. So essentially they're trying to take these objectives. So originally the objectives wouldn't have been there, but they had these sort of anti-tank things. The interesting feature of this map is that it's on the Syrian-Lebanon border. That's an interesting feature if you bear in mind that this was like within one of the first 30 games that I did, possibly even the first 20, and it was probably the first one that I maybe had borders for, the border sort of markers. I think the rebel troops number is probably too high, so they appear to only have 1,900, and if each of the 200 battalions is counted up, that's sort of, it would be 2,800. So even if you count them as 200 each, it's 2,800. However, I think I'll leave it like that for playability. I should really check spellings and things like that. The offensive is a success, and the rebels lose a lot of their men. Whilst the Syrians lose a lot less, etc., etc. I have given the rebels tow, however, I'm not sure they actually had them in 2013. I was just using units from Aleppo. Alright, I think it's a defensive edge that gives an edge to Al-Qusayr otherwise. Okay, so it wasn't historically named for that. I can't be bothered to sort of really think too much about it. Well, not so much trying to think about it, but backspace. What am I looking for? Oh, that's right. So it's in Wikipedia. So that's where I got it. So this is sort of, I often wonder where I get them, and so when you look at it like that, it looks a lot more interesting. Look at that. And you've got troops coming in from, so there's that's interesting. So maybe the map's all wrong. Syrian attacks. So they seem to get sort of behind them there, according to that map. So they seem to have from there in their control, but maybe this was a lot earlier. I mean, I don't want to labour the sort of the issue of the error. But what I will say is that part and parcel of the reason I do these and the way I do them, although probably not going to do it in this instance, is I can go back and review them and actually change them so that they are more representative of the actual scenario that they're trying to do, because they're not made up games. That's sort of a big part of it all. But let's just see what else they've got. I mean, it's quite a big Wikipedia entry. I mean, it's got all these dates in there. That's probably why I chose it. The Battle of Al-Qusayr. So this is probably the battle, or not, or that might be the battle, and this might be before that they got all that mopping up operations, strategic importance. So there's quite a lot there, and there's probably a couple of scenarios in that lot, from April to June. So that's all of April, all of May. So that's 2 months. So there's the offensive. So I think you'll probably find that this starts off. So they've captured forces from Hezbollah. Yeah, there's the Hezbollah forces. So that's them there. The problem is I've got the recorder thing right up the top, and I can't sort of go forward or backwards. I only go forwards with the keyboard. I can press the back button in the browser, because I've already opened this up. I know I can do this. I go into games, and there it is there. So Talhansa, Tel Al Nabi Mondo. So this really needs a lot of reviewing. Really, I'm not going to do it now. I just sort of want to get a video and maybe replace that video that's in there at the moment. So we've got these units, but they seem to be there. I wonder why they're there and these are here. There's presumably some purpose in it all. Who's this? Oh, I know what he's doing there. It's been a while, because you can see he's all moved out. He's got no movement points. That's an old thing that happened. That's why I'm surprised it's even got borders. You look through here. This guy here, he's anyway. So, accepting that, there's 2 big units there. So what we've got here should be a walkover, really. It's only got one movement. One movement. Yeah, I definitely need to go in and sort of edit these. Well, that's the first turn. So, what are these guys doing along this road, I wonder? Oh, they're working for the Syrians. They could have moved. Well, we've got some toes. So I think at the very least we should start moving them forward. With some support. We can't really do much against that. Not sure what I'm doing here, really. I'm more concerned about the fact I've got to edit that first turning for the movement and maybe make a little more sense of it from the Wikipedia write-up. So, right, we should have full movement now. What I was trying to do with these was to bring them up here and try and get that sort of get that part there. With these two armoured units and some of this. Okay, so he's moved up. Okay. Let's move him up this road with some support from here. Let's move two of these guys this way. Okay. Says that it's going to be worth quite a bit in there. Not necessarily a chance, they just don't have the numbers. I mean, this is a weak target and that's already pretty tough. So I'm looking for an opportunity to get some of these tanks. Okay, well, we should be able to push these guys out. And give these guys some support. Oops. Sort of the same difference. Okay. Well, yeah, let's do this first. An exchange. So they held out in Shane Sin. 1-2. I remember now. An exchange. The TOW missiles offer. What was that? So we got 2, 4, but they are ramped up. I'm not sure how this works, but in defense against armor by 5, so there's 10. So basically what happened there was the Syrians just tried to attack this heavily, well, not so much heavily defended, this position that was defended with these anti-tank missiles. And what I suspect is that video was one of these videos where they sort of show these little anti-tank missiles going in, and I think that's sort of what this is all about. Whenever I do a scenario, I always get a little bit sort of interested in, not so much the background, but other parts of it, the overall picture. And I seem to remember, I mean, it was when I was just starting, and to be quite honest, I had never really even used YouTube before. I mean, I used to use it for watching films, but that was pretty much it. And then I started to realise that if you went into YouTube and you basically Googled sort of things like Syria tank battles or something like that, you got all these pictures, quite a lot of them, just sort of video after video of all these sort of, I can remember one now, of some tanks sort of driving around, and they'd go down an alley, blow some buildings up, and then reverse out quickly. And it was interesting, and because it was sort of new for me to see, all this sort of stuff that I'd never really thought I mean, I don't think there's anything amazing about it, but I think that what that video was one of those videos of, like, Syria anti-tank missiles, Al-Qusayr offensive or something, and it showed some of these little things going in, because that's a significant part of this. They got all this. So I think basically when you play this, what you're really looking at is positioning these anti-tank missiles. So they form their line up there. So who are these? The Free Syrian Army, the opposition, that's what they call the opposition forces, really now have to sort of start thinking, well, where are we going to put our anti-tanks? We've got 2 over here, and they just did a really big job over there. Now, I think the anti-tank doesn't work if you've got infantry support, but they don't have any. They've got some here and some there. So we've got some here. So we've got 3 lots in total, and 2 of them are over here, affording us a fantastic exchange against these units. So what we might be able to do now is to attack one of these. So we have 6. If we've got anti-tank, that'd be 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. Then we'll probably get a minus for not having any armour or mechanised against armour. But that could be a 4-1 or a 3-1. It might be the best bet they get. But similarly here. So what I'm going to do is this. I think we're going to lose that eventually anyway. So why not move out now? So we're going to hit there and then potentially run back. But here, infantry. Okay, so we've got 2 battles and we're leveraging the anti-tank on these. Now, this could be a 4-to-1, it might be a 3-to-1. I hope it won't be less, because it could be 50%, it could be a 2-to-1. 5-to-1. 31. 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Plus 4.4. So they must have got a bigger bonus somewhere. That was good. 5-to-1 and a DR. So this is one of those scenarios where what they've actually done is they've been sat there in their tanks eating their sandwiches as they do, and then this strange light, sort of firework, seems to sort of always go in a sort of circular motion towards them, and then just hits the tank, and then lots of people start shouting, etc., forcing them back. The thing is, we probably won't be able to sort of really keep that momentum up, but with that sort of effort, I don't think we're going to be able to get these in there. But this might be a crap shot, but it might be worth it. 3-to-1 and a DR. So we've really punched these tanks. The Syrians weren't expecting that, because I was playing them, I didn't really know quite what to expect. I wasn't expecting them to actually do anything at all, and that's quite impressive. And here, it's strange really, because I was probably quite resigned to play a very defensive, there's an exchange, a very defensive sort of thing, just pushing these back. I mean, I've really managed to almost clear my zone of control around there completely. We did give up this objective, but so right, let's see what we can do here. That wasn't good. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I should be able to push these out. Yes. And then advance. And then attack this. And eliminate them. Oh, that's going to be a tough stack, but this one won't be. And here, well, that's where the anti-tank's in there, so we should be able to punch this away. Yes, and punch that away. Oh, a DR. Dice roll 12. Okay, well, let's push a little further forward. eliminated. Okay, they really want to get out of there now, but that's on 3. DR. That wasn't the best move. See what happens here. Oh, look at that. They've not got their anti-tank. But now they do. Oh, look at that. They just need some armor. That wasn't in the Wikipedia. The thing is, it's one of these sort of, I call them, I don't really give them a name, but generally default to a gamer strategy. You know, by doing these attacks, I've sort of not really given myself any defensive posture. We're just going to get cleaned up over here. Once they start to get their teeth into these units, as they did there, they're just going to start falling away and they're just going to get destroyed. Whereas if I sort of maybe fall them straight back, my drawing tool out. You know, if I'd fallen with these units straight back earlier, I could have probably held quite a nice defensive line there with a doubling of strength there and facing whatever was against me, and sort of fallen back along this way under there. But instead I'm sort of isolated in 2 pockets, and probably what will happen now, get the drawing tool back out again. What's the default? What will probably happen now is that they'll get stuck in a pocket as these come around. These will get stuck in a pocket, but possibly with this unit cut off and destroyed. However, there are no depressions there, 1 depression there. We could attack that. And he's got 0 movement, but he's still black. He hasn't been converted. I wonder why that is. That is interesting. I think I know why. Because he's probably at -0 or something that doesn't quite add up in the maths. Okay, so they've lost some armor. I mean, it's not going to be a successful offensive now. They've only got 1. That was it. They only had 2 bits of armor. The rest is mechanized. It's still tough. So what do they want to do? Well, they've got an option here to take that out, and I think that's what they're going to try and do. Exchange. 1 unit just popping off those whatever anti-tank missiles they are that aren't even actually specified in the scenario. I thought they were, because I'm pretty sure it was one of the first ones I ever did. Although I've done the Aleppo one, I had them there. What I do want to do is bring some units to try and, or do I really want to split this lot up? Huh, the DE, that pushed them back at least. Exchange. Okay, here. Right, might be able to push him out. DR. Push these guys back. Eliminating one of the units. Oh, there was only one there. I don't want to attack that with that toe in there. Right, so they're Depression 4. I wonder what the situation in Lebanon is. I wonder if they could. I can't even remember which side Lebanon's on. Lebanon. I'm sure Lebanon's the one that Israel keeps invading, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are not allied to the Syrians. And I seem to recall that this seems to, the Hezbollah are working with the Syrians, so let's, for the sake of argument, say they can't stay in Lebanon for any longer than is absolutely necessary. They're moving back into there. However, what do we want to do with these? Do we really want to sort of leave them as a, well, I think we're going to stick one in there. So there's 4 in there. What I'm going to do is move some anti-tank there. What we got in here? So we can get this motorized unit into the clear, push him into there, him into there, and see if we can embarrass the Syrians even more. Two to one, and then in exchange. Okay. Well, it's probably be a 1-to-1. Yep. Attack and retreat. I love those ARs. They always look so much more dramatic. Okay, I think the opposition are really now suffering. The thing is, there's anti-tank in both of these. And what I'd like to do don't know. I won't even bother finishing. I'm quite good at finishing sentences, but I just... Oh, look at that. 1. Die roll of 1. See, that's because I pushed them out there, isolated them, and once the tide turned, they've got nothing up there now. I mean, that AR gives us the village. Nothing in there, so we can move here, there, and there. Possibly push these people out of Al-Qusayr. What was that? I'm beginning to not pay attention. An exchange. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to extend the video too long, but I think it's quite clear that the Syrians now have got the upper hand. Some white on this. I mean, the line is still there, but I think this is going to collapse fairly soon. I mean, and what's probably going to happen there is this unit, well, they'll probably try and run away. At the very least, getting there, because they won't want to leave their anti-tank on its own, and then there. But what will happen is, well, these units, this unit will have to sort of fall back to there, but there's no objectives here. This unit might move back into there, and he's sort of going to hold, I guess. But the Syrians, they're just going to push now that way. I mean, they're going to push this way. Easily going to sort of cut these units off, surround that. That's going to go, and then all of this will come down this way. So that's more interesting than I thought it would be. I'm just sort of picking up some old games to sort of sequentially go through and complete. It's definitely more interesting. I think what I really want to do is, and I just don't have the time at the moment. You know, I'm struggling to do all the things that I'm struggling to do anyway. But what I'd like to do is just sit there and say, hang on, how can we make this more like that? Because that looks quite interesting. Obviously, I can't even see what this is. So the green ones, Free Syrian Army attacks. So they're taken to Abil. They take it out of Al-Dabra into Qusayr Air Base. Presumably, oh, I see. They get pushed back. Presumably this is a sort of certain timeline here. They get pushed back here, presumably for these lines. They get pushed back here, presumably, but then they counter-attack here. So this is probably quite late on, after they've been pushed from this direction and this direction through Al-Qusayr and through here. So presumably this unit gets wiped out as well as this. This unit, this Damina al-Shakia collapses presumably last, and then this is what they're actually left with at the end of it. With this little counter-attack going on down here. So what I really need to do is to somehow reflect that. It could do with a bigger map, really. I wonder if that's supposed to go anywhere else. No, quite interesting. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Maybe you can play it all by signing up and all that, and I'll speak to you later. Cheerio.